From the media, we want to welcome you to the Monday press briefing. Our colleagues from prisons and UPDF are actively involved in the funeral arrangements of the Right Honorable Speaker. So if they finish earlier on and join us, well and good. But we want to continue with this press briefing. Generally, the security situation in the country remains peaceful and calm. We still are actively involved in the enforcement operations in Karamoja. There are still acts of impunity and lawlessness by Karamojong warriors, where they are targeting civilians, security personnel, as well as carrying out cross raids within the Karamoja region and the immediate neighborhood. We shall give the weekly report on those operations in Karamoja. Another area where we have maintained the level of alertness is in the southwestern corridor of Chisoro and Kanungu, where the joint security agencies of the UPDF and the police, in close coordination with the joint intelligence components and immigration, continue to monitor the southwestern axis of Chisoro and Kanungu following an influx of refugees fleeing the war between FARDC and M23 rebels. This war had intensified on the 28th of last month in the areas of Bunagana, Shanju, Runyonyi, and Chengerero. All these are on the other side of the eastern DRC. The situation has not fully normalized in Bunagana due to additional deployments by FARDC, that is the DRC military. I think they have intentions of attacking rebel positions in Bunagana. But our teams are on standby and in close coordination with UNHCR, Office of the Prime Minister, Red Cross. There's a reception center which was opened at Nyakabande camp, and we have provided security to the refugees at that camp. And we want to urge our residents in Chisoro, Kanungu, and Bunagana area on this other side of Uganda to remain calm. We continue to conduct thorough checks and even patrols along the border. So basically, that is from that area. Now, you're aware that we continue to mourn the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Oulanyah. On the side of security, we've carried out enhancements at all venues of funeral activities. And our mission basically is to provide unique protection, security, and safety during the entire stages of this state funeral. So far, the ceremonial funeral activities have been successfully held. Since the body arrived last week, we received it in full honors, and we continue to provide security and safety at the home in Muyenga, and where the vigil is still taking place up to today. Tomorrow, Tuesday, our task teams will provide protection and security as the body moves to Parliament. And at Parliament, we expect the Right Honourable Speaker and other members of Parliament and staff to pay their last respects to the former Speaker of Parliament. The body will then lie in Parliament, and the following day, Wednesday, that is the 6th of April, our teams will again provide security as the body is transported to to the Kololo ceremonial grounds for a state funeral where His Excellency the President, other senior government officials, MPs, family members and leaders from the Acholi sub-region are expected to attend. We expect a total of about 1,500 people at the venue in Kololo, and we are well prepared to ensure that security and safety is guaranteed at the venue. After the ceremony at 3 p.m., the casket will be airlifted to the ancestral home that is in Lalogi village in Omoro district, where it will be received by family members and leaders from the Acholi sub-region. The body will again lie at the ancestral home the following day of Thursday, 7th April 2022, for final respects by members of the public, constituents in Omoro, councillors and prominent leaders of the greater northern region. Burial will therefore take place on Friday, you are all aware, where the body of our fallen Right Honourable Speaker, Jacob Oulanyah, will be laid to rest at the ancestral home in Lalogi. We expect more than 20,000 people at Lalogi village to participate in this burial ceremony, and for that matter we have drawn sufficient manpower to Lalogi village to ensure that there is safety and security. Like I've indicated, our security posture at all levels of this journey of escorting the Right Honourable Speaker is very robust, but we continue to effectively review our security posture to help counter any new form of threats and vulnerabilities. We have visible and non-visible tactical response teams that have been deployed. We have foot and motorized patrol groups that are in place. We want to urge all invitees, mourners, celebrants at all venues in Muyenga, Parliament, Kololo, and in Omoro to maximally cooperate with our task teams and follow the access controls that are given to them, as well as the search protocols. Everybody will be subjected to a search to ensure that no wrong or criminal elements get access to the funeral process. The funeral arrangements are taking place amidst a threat environment in our country, so we shall be doubling our efforts to detect and disrupt all forms of threats and acts of violence targeting mourners and other invitees like terrorism and other acts of domestic extremism. But at this stage, there are no specific threats directed towards the burial. But we however call upon all mourners and invitees to remain vigilant. We also want to thank the religious leaders from Acholi sub-region and also some selected politicians who have come out to calm the public in Acholi sub-region. They have also helped counter insightful messages that were being spread on social media platforms, as well as those who were rallying residents from the Acholi sub-region to participate in demonstrations. However, I want to assure all Ugandans that we are prepared and pledged to deliver a very safe, secure and befitting state funeral for the late Right Honourable Jacob Oulanyah. We, all members of the joint security agencies, continue to mourn the loss of a great patriot who truly loved his country. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Now, last week we talked about an incident involving the murder of a political party registrar in Bundibujo, and we want to inform you that our homicide task team, in close coordination with CMI and the flying squad, has made a major breakthrough in the murder of Aguma Robert Chifunga, a renowned lawyer and NRM district registrar in Bundibujo. This was after they successfully tracked down the prime suspect, identified as Bwambale Sande Swaib, who is a herbalist, but at the same time was also a best friend to the deceased. We arrested Bwambale Sande Swaib from his home in Rugendabara Town Council, that is found in Kasese district. This was after carrying out a very thorough evaluation and analysis of the incidents prior to this murder. We established that on the 25th of March, the deceased was escorted to Centenary Bank, that is Fort Portal branch, by the suspect called Bwambale Sande in his motor vehicle, that is the motor vehicle of the suspect, registration number UBL 885F. At around midday that very day, they, after withdrawing 42 million shillings from Centenary Bank, Fort Portal, they entered in the vehicle and they headed back to Bundibujo. The unfortunate part of it is that Bwambale Sande alerted his accomplices in Bundibujo who lured the victim into a gold transaction. So when they arrived at around 8 p.m., they met with the suspected gold dealers and who lured him into a trap. They grabbed him, strangled him to death, and then transported the body a distance of 3 kilometers up to Vimala Cell, that is Kanyasimbi ward in Bundibujo, where they abandoned the body. They shared the loot amongst themselves. And of course, when we arrested the prime suspect initially, he was denying involvement in this murder, claiming that the deceased was his best friend, and he even participated in the burial and even mobilized burial expenses towards the deceased. Those who saw him at the burial, he was very emotional and sorrowful. Even when he was giving his tribute towards the deceased, you could see that he was very sorrowful. But when we showed him the private CCTV footages that we got from Centenary Bank and two other venues, that is when he broke down and told us how they had conspired to rob these 42 million shillings with the other accomplices. So efforts are now in place to track down his other accomplices. We shall be charging them with aggravated robbery, murder, and related conspiracies. But we want also to inform the public, when we register such incidents, there are lessons to be learned. We want to inform the public that homicide by friends who have frequent, direct, and personal contacts with you is something real. In this very aspect, the suspect was very close to the family. He could attend family events, celebrations, and holidays with the deceased. And so he told us he attended the funeral so that the relatives would not suspect him, even police. So we should therefore, as members of the public, be careful with the friends that we make. Ensure you always watch your back, because the friends out there may be smeared with hate and selfishness, like in this very aspect. Therefore, the act was not spontaneous, but it was a planned and premeditated murder by a close friend whose motivation was money, totaling 42 million shillings. Today is the third day into the holy month of Ramadan, and as they stand with all Muslims and well-wishers during this holy month of Ramadan, all our territorial commanders were tasked to remain vigilant and ensure all mosques and places of worship are safe and secure. So our message to Muslim leaders, especially imams, is we encourage them to coordinate their activities with the nearest police and security agencies. And amongst the things, we ask them to assess the level of risks at their mosques, the level of risks on congregants, neighbors, and the local community. We have asked them to review all emergency exits, entry point, and fire exits, and ensure that the security alarm systems are in good working conditions. We've also asked them to report or alert the police about any suspicious activity, and also remove potential hazards such as rubbish, debris, to reduce acts of concealment and even fire-related threats. And for those human resource managers and employers at workplaces, we are reminding them that Ramadan is an Islamic holy month, and they should be mindful and respectful of Muslim staff who are observing the fasting period. They should provide prayer places and also be flexible to their Muslim staff. And we also have business persons and even visitors who move out from Uganda to the Arab countries and other Muslim countries. We want also to give some basic tips to business people and visitors who are traveling to Muslim countries during Ramadan, is that they should keep in mind the local laws, the customs related to business etiquette. They will be subjected to a bit of delays during when they go like to Dubai, when they go to Qatar and all those other places. And when they are in those countries, they should, even if they are non-Muslims, they should refrain from consuming food, drinking, and smoking in public places when they're in the Arab and Muslim countries, because it can be offensive. Then photographing worshippers during prayers is not encouraged. And here in Uganda, there are, of course, our friends who will be visiting Muslim families during Ramadan. It is also important for you to probably dress modestly in an effort to show respect to your Muslim friends, and also help fast together with them. Avoid eating, drinking, and try to support the Muslim friends during this period. Otherwise, we wish all Muslims a happy holy month of Ramadan.